If it means finally curing his vampire curse, will Miles be able to win a battle against the Black Panther himself? Well, let's find out together, shall we, as we hop into the pages of Miles Morales' Spider-Man issue number 29. So then, picking up directly from where the last issue left off, Miles and T'Challa had gone to Wakanda in hopes to seek an audience with Bass the Panther God. Bass perhaps being one of the only cosmic beings powerful enough to rid Spider-Man of Varney's curse. Everything was going as well as could be expected, until Bass' trickster brother Anansi the Spider God decided to interject himself into the proceedings. Being a lover of stories and teller of tall tales himself, Anansi agreed to free Miles of Varney's vampire curse, but only if he would be able to deliver him a story for the ages, and what better story than two superheroes fighting each other? Okay, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. Thankfully, this just isn't another instance of cut and dry superheroes fighting each other. No, technically the spirit of Varney is actually in there in the realm of the gods, and it's possessed Black Panther to attack Miles. So, the whole thing kind of works on two levels now. By overcoming Black Panther, one of the greatest heroes, one of the most battle-hardened Avengers, Spider-Man will not only be beating him, but overcoming his curse at the same time. Miles fights pretty valiantly against Varney Black Panther and even manages to get one pretty good punch in, though all that really seems to do is piss Black Panther off. Then, of course, you have Anansi and the other gods who are only making things more difficult. Bast is getting bored, and because of that, Anansi decides to up the ante in this battle by making things even more personal for poor Miles. You see, instead of just having to battle a regular old possessed Black Panther, instead the Spider God decides to bring up shadowy versions of Miles' greatest villains from the past, and I appreciate that these are all original Miles villains too. Obviously, we have the Rabble, probably the biggest trademark villain of this Cody Ziegler era. We also have the Assessor from the Solidina mid-years, but also the Ultimate Venom, and man, I really love the attention to detail here that Ultimate Venom keeps coming back, considering that that was indeed the character who actually killed Miles' mom back in the old universe. And hey, speaking of Rio and I Was, she actually has a really fun little subplot with Miles' clone Shift in this issue. Remember a couple videos back I said that Shift was really enjoying Miles' life, maybe a little too much, and that maybe he won't want to give it up by the time Miles gets home? Well, Rio, Miles' mom, actually kind of gets the same feeling I do, and she ends up nipping that whole scenario in the bud by saying, hey Shift, we love you exactly as you are. You're a Morales, you're your own guy, you don't need to be Miles. You're perfect just the way you are, and honestly I think that's really sweet and really wholesome, and a surprisingly nice and unexpected way to end this little Shift B-plot we've been following this volume. Now back over with Miles in Wakanda, he continues to fight valiantly against the echoes of his old foes. All the while, poor Miles ends up getting pestered not just by the ghosts of his past, not just by the gods who are currently having him fight for their amusement, but also Varney, who says that he's a weak failure who will never lift his curse and that he would much rather take over Black Panther's body and continue his reign of terror on the outside world after this battle is won. Miles rallies from these comments like never before, summoning his bioelectric sword and vanquishing the shadows of the Rabble, the Assessor, and Venom. Still though, he feels he might not be capable to take down this manipulated Black Panther. Thankfully, it's here though that Anansi actually ends up being quite the god bro, slipping Miles a little hint. You see, the whole point of this little game right here wasn't actually to win the fight. Anansi never said he wanted him to beat Black Panther, he just wanted him to deliver a great story, one for the ages, one worth telling. And it's right around here Miles ends up dipping into his creative writing bag again and basically ends up completely weaponizing his own genre savvy to win the day here. You see, if one person has to leave the realm of the gods still possessed by a vampire, Miles says it might as well be him, that Black Panther has many more important battles to fight, and that if the curse is to be Miles' cross to bear, then so be it. After all, he didn't choose to be bitten by that spider, but he made it work. He didn't choose to be bitten by a vampire either, but hey, he'll make that work too, because that's Miles, that's what he does. He endures, he overcomes, and he succeeds. And indeed, all of this ends up being exactly what the doctor ordered. Anansi, good to his word, ends up purging Miles' body of the vampire curse, finally freeing him from his bloodlust. Obviously, this would be cause for much celebration, but it seems this victory also comes with one hell of a caveat. Miles is now officially known to Anansi the Spider God, who figures, hey, why should Bask and the Panthers get to have all the fun when it comes to picking a champion from the mortal world? I mean, Miles not only proved himself brave, strong, and resourceful, but he definitely proved himself to be champion material, right? Though Anansi promises that will be a story for another day. It's after that Black Panther decides to give Miles a ride back to New York. He's got one hell of a cosmic god hangover right now, and no doubt he's going to take a lot of time to recover. T'Challa says that this sort of thing never affected him and his sister nearly as much because they practiced their whole lives for this sort of scenario. For what it's worth though, Black Panther says that Miles did a pretty damn good job, and in another world and another life he could very easily have seen Miles become a great Black Panther. And yeah, more or less on that note right there, the comic comes to a close. And so that was Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number 29, everybody, the big finale to this big long 2-volume vampire arc. Was it maybe a little drawn out and maybe a little longer than it needed to be? Oh sure, but between this and the Vulture story, I think we actually ended up getting two of Cody Ziegler's strongest stories to date. Also, having a mainline Spider-Man be the champion of Anansi is definitely something that they've toyed around with Peter before, and it's something I find very compelling that they just pulled the trigger on and said, yep, Miles is the champion of spiders now. This issue also serves as kind of a nice celebration to how far Miles has come during the Cody Ziegler era, all the villains he's overcome, all the adventures he's had, and honestly just how much he's developed in a little under 30 issues, and yeah, it's pretty staggering how much Ziegler has managed to do in such a short amount of time. Next up, we're also getting the big Deadpool crossover, which was probably bound to happen considering that Cody Ziegler writes that book as well. In fact, I'm going to have to catch up on Deadpool so I can bring you all of that next time. Overall, though, I would give this one a very strong 8 out of 10. I'm very happy to report Miles Morales Spider-Man stays winning in 2025. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Jewel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.